guys, welcome. I'm Stacia Kelly. I'm here with Corey Matthews, Victoria, and Chef Rush. Did I do that right?
You did.
And
Exactly.
we are talking, so Corey's got a companion today. She's got somebody else out in Los Angeles who's stuck out there too, while a bunch of us are on the East Coast. So I am Stacia Kelly. I'm one of the founders with Corey for the Stand and Compete group, as well as running the Max Muscle Virginia shows. Of course, I'm on the East Coast. Corey's on the West Coast. Victoria's out here from Fit and Furious, also one of our co-hosts. So welcome, everybody. Corey, you want to say hi? And then we'll go around.
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining in again. We're really excited for all of you to be here, and I'm excited to hear from Chef Rush today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be back again, and even bigger privilege to have a gem. Our guest today, Chef Rush, grateful, regardless of anything, very grateful that we were able to steal an hour of his valuable time. And if everybody's ready, we will start with introduction, and we'll get this webinar rolling.
Awesome. So Chef Rush, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys are handling all this crazy new age reality.
So if you didn't know, I'm Chef Rush. Everybody knows me as the White House chef, or strongest chef in the world per se. Or I do 2,222 push-ups every day except for Saturday and Sunday for suicide awareness prevention, kids, homelessness. I do everything from going to speak to tens of thousands of kids to military. Ambassador for Arnold Schwarzenegger's After School All-Star Kids, which kids is a huge passion of mine. In the military, retired, been in combat, Iraq, Afghanistan, was in 9/11, Pentagon. And I don't try, I do keep up the positivity. I see a couple guys in here like Joshua, who I knew back at Fort Belvoir, who's actually competing now. So I'm glad to see him here, and also glad to be here with the rest of you guys. So act away. I have like 1,000,001 things, 1,000,001 secrets, and I'm excited to be here to support.
Awesome.
And as for things, that's a great question, because I live both on the East Coast and the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast at the moment, and as of last night, they just did a more secure lockdown here in LA, meaning that only essential as far as medication or groceries. So they're kind of locking it down a little bit more, getting a lot tighter on the situation, which I'm sure there'll be questions about that as far as handling it with anxiety, depression, your mental health, your well-being. And it's different for each and every person. So I'm excited to get into that.
Chef, you mentioned that you were involved with providing some medical supplies, the masks, the hand sanitizers, even though everything was on lockdown. How is that mission going?
That mission is a very complicated mission. It goes into contingency contracting. And I'm probably one of the most very straightforward and most transparent person that you're going to meet. That's why people love me and hate me, because I kind of tell the truth about everything. Here in today's society, even in contingency contracting, where I partner my guys from the government, FDA, DHA, White House officials, operations, we go into this. Okay, here's what's happening. The world goes into a panic. Now we have to act. We go out and we source masks, gloves, kits, test kits, viable, but it's so much more to it. We're just, for instance, the stimulus got passed with the $2 trillion. Now we got to go and source the right information from it, because guess what? There's 1,000,001 scammers. Everybody's price gouging. We're getting 3M masks. We're getting these COVID test kits. They don't work, and they can cause more harm than damage. Just the other day, someone lost $5 million because of inventory didn't come. And you can't put it on a trust system, because you're dealing with people from China, Turkey, all over the world, just saying we have all these products, 500 million masks, 500 million test kits, and they're probably 9 out of 10 of them are going to be fake. So it makes it extremely hard, and then it becomes very students, because the government has to lock down these hospitals. For instance, in New York, I was talking to them in New York yesterday. New York is under siege. You have about 85% of the cops that's there in New York that have corona. They can't quarantine themselves. They have to be out there, because guess what's going to happen, unfortunately? If they go in and quarantine themselves, it's going to be riots. It's going to be chaos for no apparent reason, just because there's no one there to protect them, right? So it is hard, but we try to make it as simple as possible. We started out 2-3 weeks ago where it was, spreadsheet. Now we have a whole catalog. And now we're seeing everything coming into place. It took a long time to get there, but we don't have that much time. Of course, this is a virus, and people need to be aware of what's going on and how it's going on. And unfortunately, in this country, we get a little entitled. We get a little complacent. We're like, it's nothing. It's not going to affect me. For instance, the kids in Florida, they went out there and they just traced it back that when they left Florida for their spring break, they went all over the nation and spread it everywhere, right? So that's when I say your knowledge is everything based. You're not immune. And if you don't show these symptoms, doesn't mean that you don't have it. So it just makes it harder for everyone else.
Mm-hmm. This one of the reasons why this is helpful to competitors to understand the magnitude of this, because of cancellations of shows, events. I'm sure a lot of your events were canceled, and travels and meetings, and it's very traumatizing, almost like PTSD for people that were getting ready for competition, and it was canceled, and now we are locked in the house and don't have access to food and gyms and everything. How, from your perspective, and your military background, what is the best way to deal and cope with this lockdown and kind of this pandemic?
I would say the military has a little bit of advantage, and I say the military has a little bit of advantage in certain circumstances and situations. And the guys that's on here that's military, or even first responders, or nurses, or doctors, or anybody that's been in that world would understand about seclusion. I mean, going to Iraq, or going to Afghanistan, or even going to the field for 30 days, 60 days, or being over in a secluded area with just a couple people for 12 months or more. You have to adapt. It's the mindset that gets you into that whole part of it. So for this right here, for me, it's easy. I had a lot of cancellations, had a lot of things going on. And so if you see my posts and everything I do, I try to make it fun, try to make it, it's not serious, because we are our worst enemies a lot of times. And we try to be the keeper of knowledge. So as soon as we hear something negative, we want to push it out right away, but we think and call it as informative, but we drag it down and make it negative. You can do that and disseminate the information, but do it in a positive way, right? Like everybody's doing push-ups. Do push-ups every day. That's easy, but do push-ups for a cause. Do push-ups for a reason. Do something that's going to go along with it, and don't just say, just do some push-ups. Or are you talking to your family? Take this time to do a self-reflection, self-gratitude, intentional fortitude with your kids, with your family. Reflect, start a new career, look at something, write a book, a journal, do something with the kids, and let them know that even though they can't go outside, just don't take your kids outside to play with other kids and going around. It's just not good, because again, they're not immune, even though they're younger and they say they're strong, or even with the older generation. So you have to understand that your mental health is the most important part of it, your mental well-being, but not only yours, you have to be that person, each and every one, to spread that to your family members or strangers or others. That's easy for us to do, but it's even easier to spread a negative conception to that.
Kids. Let's talk about kids. Kids on lockdown, loaded and ready. They are ready to shoot at any target that they can see around the house. What would be your recommendation on how to keep them focused, motivated, doing some work, especially since the food now is the comfort? How do we deal with the food and kids?
Great question, because kids are so hyperactive. They need their space. They're like a wild animal. They need at least 100 square acres just to run around. And so if you have them in a tight spot, especially if they have brothers or sisters, you have to find something that's going, and here's the deal, you have to relate on their level and understand that. Cooking, like you just said, I have a little thing what I used to do with kids all the time, even with the After School All-Star kids. 99% of After School All-Star kids, they love when I come and I cook with them, right? You teach them how to do pastries, healthy pastries that may be gluten-free, that's the aspect of it. You teach them new skill sets, new mindsets, and then all of a sudden they take off. And believe it or not, the males were taking it even more so than the females were taking it as kids. I'm talking about young kids, you know, as early as 8, 9, 6, just coming up saying, I want to be a chef and I want to learn how to cook. But also it teaches them healthy lifestyle traits. It teaches them something that they'll grow into now instead of going to these fast food places. Now, I use cooking as one aspect of it. Now let's go into that healthy fitness part of it. Health and fitness is imperative, but the most important part of anything is going to be mental health. Mental health is even detrimental more so for the younger generation because they didn't grow up like we did, right? And I say we did because it doesn't have to be far. It could be 10 years ago. It could be 5 years ago. It was completely different then than it is now as far as the mental well-being is concerned. So you put them into a house where they're secluded. You know, I was talking to my daughter, called me, she was in the East Coast, called me today, and she was like, Dad, I'm checking on you. And I'm like, well, thank you for checking on me. What are you guys doing? It's like, well, it's so bored, you know, it's this. And I'm like, well, here's what you need to do, X, Y, and Z. And I said, would you rather be bored or would you rather be dead? And she's like, okay, Dad, you got a point. I'd rather be bored. So look at that. That's me being very blunt with her. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm like, here's what you need to do, because they have to understand the severity of this. It's, oh my God, you know, from playing games, getting to know your kids, talking about school, talking about other different things, make up something, you know, get them into something they may learn how to do. Like I said, about writing or journaling, tell them to write out a story, make these little playbooks, and they're publishing themselves. You know, they have the social media. Do something that's going to be positive and not something that's going to be in a way where it just using social media as an outlet and just looking through stuff. So help them try to understand why they should do the things they're doing.
If I could add to that, as a family and consumer science teacher, I've worked with students and teaching them how to cook, and you can make a lesson out of measurement, especially the younger kids. Just bring and make it a math lesson of measurement and learning about the different foods. There's a good book for younger kids, Coloring a Rainbow, learning to eat different vegetables by different colors. And what I did was they sampled new vegetables by the colors. Each day we ate by a different color, and kids learned to eat vegetables.
And I love that. And me being a chef, so I have a hard time with kids eating vegetables, so I trick them a lot, right? Because they know what vegetables they are. I do a lot of purees. I do a lot of terrines that's made strictly out of vegetables. It covers and masks the profile, because if you tell a kid that they're eating broccoli and they see the broccoli on a plate, sometimes they won't eat it. They're like, I don't eat broccoli. I don't eat carrots. But if you puree it and you put a few little spices in it and turn it into something else, and all of a sudden you put it over, you know, that chicken, that's a chicken breast, something, they just go crazy over it. And that's what it is. 100% of the time, the kids said they didn't eat what they wanted. I always had them eat it just because. And it's fun to do. And it also, like you just said, it shows that healthy lifestyle, and it gives them that foundation for the future tense, because food, holistic, is actually medication for them. It gets them, you know, for gut control, for liver, for heart, for diabetes, which my daughter has diabetes, and she had diabetes since she was 7. So I had to teach her what foods to eat and what not to eat. So it's extremely important for future growth.
Mm-hmm. I made a lesson with the senses, where they tasted the food and which was sour, and we went through and compared different vegetables. So you can compare, like, what did you like about the broccoli compared to Brussels sprouts? and you can, for younger kids, you can add in color, all kinds of things.
So,
I
thank
love
you,
it.
Deborah.
Thank you. Do we have, is it time for a little giveaway?
Yes,
Corey,
I was just gonna interrupt and say it's time for a giveaway, and then I have a question that came in across the chat too. So who's our first giveaway, or what?
So we
what's our first giveaway?
will do the body mass composition. They are giving away 10 tests for local competitors that were going to compete. So whoever logged in first 10 people that are local competitors, if they can just send their email,
So
if
I
they
will
can just send it.
say that is Deborah, John Rummick, Josh, Kelly, Mariah, Maureen, Malgros Castillo.
Hi, sorry. I'm with body mass composition testing, so I don't need one.
So we'll skip.
You're exempt.
Then I have Stephanie
Teaching
and
them how to cook, and you can make a lesson out of measurements.
I have Rebecca's iPad. So I don't know who Rebecca is, but those are our list. Did you get all those, Victoria?
No, just have, let's have them send an email or a separate message.
Yeah, guys, go
to
ahead.
one of us. That will,
Let's consolidate. I'll just make it easy because all of you should probably have the show email address, mmvanpc@gmail.com. Go ahead and send your name and say body mass index. And we'll
because I don't see them on my side.
yeah, I have.
But, what was
That'll work. We'll get them over.
Chef? We have a question from one of the listeners. The people are asking, who did you have a privilege to cook for? Somebody famous, or maybe your favorite? And what was the favorite dish that you prepared for them?
You know, I've cooked for a lot of people. I mean, for presidents, kings, queens. I mean, Queen Elizabeth. I did a 12-foot cake. Queen of Egypt. Movie stars. Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I'll give it to him. Probably was my favorite just because I was always a fan, and he's actually a huge supporter of mine. A huge supporter of mine, especially being with advocacy. If cooking for people is wonderful, and they can have a status quo, but if you're inside the circle, and now, like I said, I'm a very transparent person. I don't care what your status is. I care about what you're about and what you're giving. So if you love my food, thank you. But that's not going to make me say you're my favorite because of your status. But if you have a status and that you are so impactful in society and the community, and you're very organic and truthful about what you're doing, then I don't care if you have one follower. You're my favorite. I tell people all the time, especially in my world, which is that customer service and hospitality, even in life. A lot of the guys, they say to me, they ask me about cooking for the presidents and cooking for this, and I tell them that my standards for the president is this high. I said, when I cook for him, I said, but my standards because I cook for a lot for the homeless, is this high. Because in retrospect, the president gets it every day, all the time. You may save that homeless person's life, or they may not never have a meal like that again. And I tell them, never compromise service, because if you do, I'm firing you. You don't look at the tie or the title or the monetary value or the celebrity status that goes along with it. You look at the person. And if you always do it the same each and every time, you'll be a winner 100%. My favorite food to cook is Everything. I love, I travel to Argentina just to eat the beef. I've traveled to Brazil. I've traveled to Mexico. I love, love, love food. So I try to incorporate all of those things into my cooking style. So I'm a master ice carver, pastry chef, a chocolatier. I do lauder. I've competed all over the world in competitions for USA and the military. So I developed a palate where I just wanted to taste things. But if I had to cook anything every day, and I would just be honest with you, it'll be chicken, because I have like 1,000 different chicken recipes, and I eat 4 a day, so whole chickens a day. So that makes sense.
I bet you can take an MRE and create an amazing dish from it.
I actually have, and I used to actually be one of the guys that would sample the MREs before they went out.
Oh, oh boy. What a job, what a title, what a job description, right?
Stacia, do we have any more questions from the listeners?
So Josh is asking, love to hear some cooking advice or recipes for comfort foods that can still be healthy.
Josh, you already know the answer to that question because you cook. I know you do. I've seen your prep. But you know, it's funny because the healthy part of it is I have a cookbook that's coming out pretty soon, but I get this a lot. So I'm actually doing with Eric the trainer something called Quarantine Kitchen, where we go out and we go in the pantry and we open up stuff, whatever you have in your house, and we'll cook something with it. It's like you don't know what it is. You got where I'm going, and we use that because guess what? Now, especially with this point in time. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a Def Leppard, Phil Collins next week, where I'll be cooking. He's going to say, hey, chef, I challenge you to do this, and we go in the garden. I'll pick up something, of course, with our social distancing, so it may just be like this, and I'll go and grab some food, and I'm going to cook something. So I'm going to show you the whole experience of what to cook with. Of course, simple carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, which I love carbohydrates, and you're going to need them right now. The only thing about this is part it's keeping healthy and still exercising, but the part about it is you're going to need that if you have kids or if you need to know the basis of it. You get rid of all the junk food, get rid of all the soda. I tell you that right off the top. If you're going to splurge, have a cheat meal, I mean, that's fine, but you're going to work for it after you do have that. As far as comfort foods, I go with all the things. Now I take in consideration about medical needs or dietary needs. Everybody's on a diet tip this day. And you ask them why, I'm going to tell you that half of them don't know why. If I tell half of the people don't know what gluten is, they don't know what a keto diet is, they don't know what fasting is, and hell, half of you do it already anyway, you don't even know it, but now it's just a name to it. So it's pretty comical and funny to me, but to each his own. So, but I tell people each and every time, knowledge is power on that basis of it. If anyone wants to learn something to cook, if you want recipes, if you have some, say, chef, give me some with chicken, I'll give you 5 recipes right off the top that I use and that the pros use that I kind of consult with how and why, along with a lot of food companies on looking for the healthy things. I use very low sodium. I use very low, everything is like literally natural. And the best part of it is like in the old days where the bodybuilders like, just chicken and it's so bland. I do not eat bland food. And look at me.
What is your favorite recipe then for your chicken? That's going to be the next follow-up question to that.
So I do 4 chickens. I do 4 whole chickens 4 different ways every day. One of my favorite ones is I think I just did a TikTok where I scored the chicken really fast. Scored it means just you cut slits inside of it. I fabricate it, I open it up, and then I put some oil, I put some thyme, I put some parsley, I put some garlic, I put some onions, I use a little kosher salt, some pepper, put it on a pan, skin fat down, sear it really fast, got a nice skin, really crispy, turn it over, put a little olive oil on top of it with a little K-butter, which is clarified. Rub that in really quick, put it in the oven, cover it up at a high heat, going really fast. It comes out freaking perfect. And then I do one that's gonna be smoked. I do one that's in an air fryer. And then I do one that is, oh my God, I do chicken every way you could, probably like Forrest Gump, that the shrimp, I do that with chicken.
I'm hungry already. Hungry already. Your recommendation on carbs, the selection, since it's limited right now, what is your favorite healthy carb to work with?
You know, I'm a superfoods fan. You know, I've always in with amaranth and quinoa, of course. I always do those things. I do protein pastas a lot now. You know, it has that extra protein. It takes out a little more of that carb from the simple and complex. Um, I love basmati, I love jasmine. I just have to deviate from it compared to white rice. I love the brown, so people ask me all the time about that. You know, mix it up. You know, of course, brown rice is going to be the best rice, wild rice. Put a little of that other rice inside of it and just do half and half. You know, don't take out everything if you don't need it, but you also have to do the work for it. So I'm open with carbs on the pastas, even with potatoes and different types of potatoes. Pasta, yeah, I said protein pasta. Protein pasta is a few different kinds. A lot of people don't notice it. That's in the supermarket. It's with the actual regular pasta, but it says protein pasta, right? Also, that's edamame pasta, right? Edamame pasta is incredible, and it is crazy high protein. I mean, it's probably it had like maybe 130 grams of protein in one box or more.
Mm-hmm.
And gives you probably, I think it's like, I'm sorry, it had more than that. It gives you like 30 grams of protein or 40 grams of protein in one serving. Well, I'll take about 2 or 3 servings, but you know, that's what it is.
So we hear a lot of knowledge on the label, at least that's what I'm picking up, a lot of knowledge on the label when it comes to selection of the food, even though it's canned food or box food. Is that your recommendation?
So I do this class at all of the expos, you know, Olympia Fit Expos, called Don't Label Me, which is label reading, which is what we don't do. We only look at, when you look at a label, the first thing you do is look at what?
Calories
Calories.
and serving.
Carbs.
You do.
I look at sugars.
Who looks at the FDA? Who looks at the percentage? Who looks at the service
Nobody.
side?
Mm-hmm.
I look at small ingredients for soy, for sugar.
You look at things that we automatically drawn to that we already know. You know, we look at the calories, we look at carbohydrates, we look at fats. Nobody goes over to the right and says FDA is this is daily allowance, DA of 50% of your daily allowance, right, in one serving. But to make it is 2 servings. Right, and then you put 4 servings in, which you're 200% into your daily allowance of, let's say, carbohydrates, or let's say, excuse me, or let's say sodium. So you have to look at the whole entire label to understand why. And the reason why I say this in a lot of the expos that I say, because it's not all about you, it's also about your kids, because your kids are going to just eat what you give them. They're not going to read that label. You put it in front of them, they're going to eat. And you can just be feeding them sugars and sodiums and all these other things that you don't know anything about, which is just not good for you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a big thing. So the next time you go in, of course, the label, and again with transparency, FDA allows certain different things for the consumer, which is us, right, and distributor. They get away with a lot. They're not allowed to tell you certain things, right? You have to decipher that for yourself. FDA says, okay, you only have to tell them, let's say 30% out of 100 of what's going on. For instance, I'll give you an example, organic food. When you see organic, you see 100% organic, and then you see organic. And then you'll see organic that's, let's say organic that's 350, and then you see organic 100% that is 360. That organic food that's 350, that you say, oh, I saved 10 cents. Guess what? It's garbage because 100% organic means that it went through the process for FDA. But we don't look at organic and 100% organic because guess what? It just says organic. So we're like, why does this say 100% organic and this says organic? There's a difference. That could be 30% stipulations, which makes it qualify for being organic, where 100% means they went the extra mile to make it 100% organic, but they'll trick you because they can still charge that price point as being 100% organic. But you as a consumer, you have to find it out yourself. That's why I say you have to look at these things as far as label and why and how and so forth.
So label is pretty much everything before even considering purchasing it. That's very important because it takes time, and labels can be very overwhelming. So that's
no, especially if you're grocery shopping and you're looking at everything, and that's what some of us do. Some things should be kind of like automatic. That you should know and kind of looking at. Now, marketing is everything in today's society and world. And I'll give you an example. Right now we have this thing going on that's called Corona, and the one thing that went off the market is, first thing was toilet paper. Why? Somebody said, go grab toilet paper. Right? Then somebody said, well, we need vitamin C. Now all vitamin C is gone. Now, oh, you know what? We need vitamin D. Now all of vitamin D is gone. So, by human nature, we're followers, right? And a lot of people know that. Some people are leaders, but we can be ambidextrous and be followers and leaders. So you have to understand who's trying to make you follow and who's trying to make you lead.
right. That is, yes, that's true. Consider the source. Consider the source. Are we ready for another giveaway, or we have questions?
I was just going to say the same thing. So tell us about our next one. You're keeping an eye on the time just like I am today. We're getting better at this.
Our next one is BB Custom Suits is given $100 off for the competition suit. It could be male or female, so anyone, it will work for anybody.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Corey, pick a number 1 through 8.
3.
Now I gotta go back down. 1, 2, 3. Malgros Castillo.
Oh, Milagros Castillo.
There you
Yeah.
go.
We know that person. And by the way, don't leave us before 1, because Chef Rush is doing a special giveaway. So keep your questions coming, because he will select the best question, and he has a special reward for that person.
Well,
Yes.
I do have a question. As we're looking at, so, obviously with giving everything, so it's essential that we're just going out to the grocery stores. We're just going out to do, pharmacy run or bank run. So Chef Rush, what I would ask is, when people are going to the grocery store now, you mentioned protein pasta. I can imagine everybody on this call now going, and they're going to be picking up everything of pasta, turning it around and looking at which one. So my kind of thoughts would be, is if they're going to a grocery store, right, given the epidemic we're in, what are the 10 things that they should be grabbing? What should they be grabbing to put into their carts without having, what are easy picks for them to just go in and grab, know it's good for them, not have to turn around, look at the labels? I recently saw something where everybody said, I thought this was the crazy one out there. They said, have you ever thought about when you bring your Costco cart home, you should sanitize your Costco cart like it has had, somebody has peed all over it. And so you should sanitize it. So I know there's a lot of hysteria out there. So I think, what are 10 foods that if they're going to the grocery store with their list, they can go and grab and know it's good, pick it up off the shelf, not have to worry about it?
Josh just said Oreos.
Josh doesn't count. The good thing is that Chef Rush knows Josh.
He was talking about vegan Oreos. I have a recipe
He's
for
talking
that.
about vegan Oreos.
But that's a great question, right? And if you're trying to look for the long haul, so it's a kind of a loaded question. If you're trying to look for the long haul, and being honest, like with me personally going out and shopping, of course you're looking for your standards of meats, which you can freeze. That's a no-brainer on that part of it. The lean meats, healthy meats, even though it's good fat meats, whatever. The one thing I'll say, if you're kind of secluding yourself and locking in and you're not going often, get canned vegetables. Get canned vegetables, right? Frozen vegetables. Of course, people always talking about frozen vegetables or worse than that. Guess what, guys? What the situation is right now, if you're going to the grocery store, all of the fresh produce is actually gone. And another thing, like you just said about that grocery cart, a lot of people are picking up those cucumbers and those squash, and they're touching them with their hands, their bare hands. So take that in consideration along with it. Make sure you wash all your food, even the fruit, oranges, all that stuff. You have to do that and take that in consideration. But for me, I would go and I would get my vegetables. My vegetables is going to be in cans. I'll get a lot of things that's in packages already, things that I really don't have to handle, and no one, whether it be people at the grocery store or the consumers, are picking up and touching themselves, right? Make sure, and I'll just caveat to this, I don't care if you look stupid or not, because I'll do it myself. Put your gloves on, right? Put your gloves on, and when you're going and you're looking at everything and picking it up and putting it into your carts, and do the same thing you just said about sanitation. Essential for if you do like water. Me myself personally, I have a filter, and I filter all my water. I don't just go in and buy a 48 pack of water, because unfortunately, if you didn't know, going back about knowledge being power, is that probably 6 out of 10 are just tap water that's filtered, right? Unfortunately.
Very true.
So it's just tap water that's filtered. Get you the healthy snacks, not Oreos. Something that's gonna please the kids. Do a lot of things you get for your baking purposes. Things that's gonna last for a long period of time. Let's say like a roast. You can cook those. You can eat off of those for a few days. Chickens, from the gumbos, stews, soups. That's what I do. I freeze them, put them in the refrigerator. Even if you don't have the freezer room, they can have a 7+ a lifespan on them before they go bad. So you want something that's gonna not like fish, of course. Something that's gonna be the longevity of it. But of course, if you're gonna do fish or things like that, seafood, do it right away if it's not frozen. So it also depends on kind of personal profile and you knowing what you should do. But a long story short is, right at this point in time, I would do a lot of canned stuff. I would do a lot of things as packages. Of course, my fresh meat. And I'm not saying not to get fresh vegetables or anything like that, which I still do. I just have to make sure that they are washed, they're clean. And when I say wash, they're clean, I actually wash them with actually detergent, and put over it and wash them off, and then rinse them off very well. And so yeah, it's a couple different things on that part. A lot of other things we talked about with the vitamin C and the vitamin D. One of the things that I also get that I use every day, they talk about immune support, is I do the chaga mushroom, which is a superfood as well.
How do you spell that? The chaga?
Chaga, CHAGIT. It's actually it's a chaga shot. It is immune. It is for immune deficiency. Is for gut control. It is for it's for also what do you call it?
Kombucha?
I'm sorry?
Kombucha?
No, kombucha. It's more than kombucha. I know kombucha. No, this mushroom is used it was used over in Japan. They actually exhausted their resources for it. And it's only grown in Alaska. So I'll better show you than tell you.
Well, while you're doing that and going to find that, Victoria, do you have another giveaway for us?
Yes, our last giveaway, it will be from Life. And it would be a workout bands and a hot sauce, just perfect timing for in-house workout and keeping your food delicious.
Awesome. Corey, you get to pick again, 1 through 9.
Let's do 7.
John Rummick. That's awesome. Okay.
I want a personal picture of John using the booty bands. I personally, we need that. We need that personal picture of that, just because
John will do it.
Absolutely, not a problem.
At this point, I think we all will do anything.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll let Coach or Chef Rush show us what we were talking about before that. Sorry.
So this is a chaga. It's a shot, comes in, you turn it stuff. It's the mushroom is extracted and is actually dark and it's sweet. It's natural flavors. It's FDA certified. It's just a crazy thing that I came across that actually helps for so many different things. It's amazing, but it's one of those things, like one of those hidden gems, because it's not a lot of it on the market, and it's kind of controlled. But it is actually a superfood that actually is very supportive in immune deficiency, immune support.
And you made sure that you have your own personal stock now before recommending it to everybody on this call, right?
I already have my own stock. I do. I do.
Is it online or store from the store, or where would one purchase it?
These I got offline. It's Chagget. I think it's Chagget.com that this came from, and they actually, I think they're on IG as well. But I think this was from. I went to one of the expos, and they had. Yeah, I went to one of the expos, and they had talked to me and bugged me for a long time to try it. And they finally had sent me some, and I was like, I left it there for a while, and I finally tried it for like a week, and it was pretty amazing.
Speaking of expo, we ran into each other again at Arnold's, and it was totally different experience outside of the door, right? Inside the door, I think the handful of people were trying to keep it the same way. Athletes were amazing. What was your experience? How was it different for you, this Arnold Classic that just passed, and what were your most favorite moments?
Well, running to you guys, of course, because it was comical. It's just kind of out of the ordinary. So, you know what was so amazing about that was, even though they had canceled at such short notice, and I know that was uncontrollable, with the governor and the mayor, that was 250,000 people that wasn't there anymore, and the end result was, it was a good thing it was canceled. Unfortunately, it was how it was handled. It should have been done a lot, because a lot of small businesses and support system lost a lot of money. I mean, they did try to recoup it by putting an online, thing, but it's not the same as experiencing, as walking around. The one thing about that was that Arnold, I had to give it to him, because even though he's older, he was there the whole entire time. He supported 100% the whole entire time, and he became more personable. People got to see him that wouldn't get to see him normally, or get to talk to him, or take pictures and do things with him. Also, there was relationship buildings there that wasn't like before, when it's like overly crowded. When it's overly crowded, you probably have, a good 5 minutes to talk to someone, and it's on to the next, and so forth. This time, people stopped, talked, laughed, they had a great time. And what was amazing about it was, as we saw for the competition, it was packed tight. It was not one seat empty, and it was 100 support. Everybody had a great time, and they showed all the love in the world, even though that was happening. And that's what I loved about it the most. Of course, I was there. I spoke to hundreds and hundreds, a few hundred kids while I was there. So of course, that's going to be my favorite of all, always. But besides that, was just the support system, and the attitudes, and people still knowing that what was happening. They still kept their heads up. They still laughed. They, relationships were built, conversations, and it was just amazing.
Yes, it really was. It really was. If you didn't know things were canceled, you wouldn't tell much difference, because everybody was very supportive and very happy.
Before we ask any other questions, we do have one from somebody listening in. This one comes from Maureen, and she said, do you have any advice for us who had very active jobs, but now under stay-at-home orders are not moving nearly as much? I've never sat so much in my life, and we aren't supposed to go out unless necessary, and being this sedentary makes me feel like following my meal plan may now be overeating.
That's a wonderful question. I'm sorry, what's her name? Maureen?
Yes. Maureen.
That's that's an absolutely wonderful question, because I've heard that so many times, right? That's when that intestinal fortitude comes in, because you have a meal plan, right? You have a meal plan, you have a goal, you have a set. People think that, the only outlet is for going to the gym, right? When the gym's taken away from you, what else do you have to do? I'm with Eric, a trainer right now, and he does a online class, Zoom, just like this, where, you know, you have a bunch of celebrities and all those guys over, and last night, matter of fact, his class starts in today when I was just talking to him, but you have like 100 or more doing things without dumbbells or anything. They have another class with them with light dumbbells, and he goes over the whole thing. They start this community thing. On the part as far as, you know, my meal plan is going to where maybe overeating, that's that intestinal fortitude that you'll have to realize. Get back on schedule, right? I'm looking at you, you're looking at yourself, and you already know it. If you said it, it's probably happening, right? The one thing you don't want to do is become complacent and become lazy, because we, like I said, again, we are followers a lot. We need people to push us. Well, I'm pushing you to tell you to stop and do what you need to do, because it's not easy. It's not easy being there by yourself and saying, okay, I'm losing track, I'm losing focus. That's the part of it where we have to kind of regroup, refocus, and look at our goal set. Right now should be the time where you should be the best shape of your life, because all you do is have time. You know, I have an extremely hectic lifestyle. You know, I'm on the road 25 days out of the month, and all of a sudden it just stopped. And I was like, okay, I was helping a lot of people, I'm doing a lot of things, but now let me regroup and refocus. My regroup and refocus went towards benefit of the cause of helping everyone with trying to find masks and benefits, things like that. Also talking to you guys, which is extremely important to me, and not only for myself and my mental, but I hope for yours as well. And also that relationship building, saying, okay, this person told me I need to do X, Y, and Z, and I already knew that. But just having him or her says it just reinforces that. So don't become complacent. Don't get lost up in the hype of saying, all right, I know what I'm eating. If you want to splurge a little bit, hey, take the time for it. But you also got to know that when you do that, you won't have to pay for it. So think about me just saying, if you do whatever you need to do, Marine, you need to drop down and give me 2,222. I'm just joking. Don't give me something.
No, he is not. He is serious.
Maybe you could do 2,000 squats or something.
I would take that. 2,000 squat, 2,000 burpee. Well, you know.
Chef Rush new challenge every day, 2,222 of something.
Well, and I think this is a great point too. I know a couple people have mentioned meal plans and they've referenced them here, is that I would say, you know, if you are working with someone, be sure to reach out with your coach. I mean, I know a lot of the trainers, a lot of the coaches in the area, you know, they make their income from directly meeting with people. So a lot of them have gone online, they've switched and done stuff, or reach out to a coach that's always worked online. I know we've mentioned a couple throughout this, you know, thread and stuff that we've done, but reach back out and look at it. You know, if you need to, whatever system you use to create your meal plan, go back in and actually calculate how many calories you're burning. Look at what you're doing. But, you know, one thing that I wanted to reiterate for everybody here, this doesn't have to be, and I thought the most thing is that they're calling it the COVID-19, meaning 19 pounds versus, you know, the freshman 15, is that you can still really work on your goals here. Whatever those goals are that you set at the beginning of the year. I've seen a lot of people reference, oh, there goes my New Year's resolutions or getting in shape. When we are done with this, we're going to walk right into summer, and we are all going to want to be out there in shorts and tank tops. And so I just encourage anybody to really, you know, take this time. And I know it's so easy to turn to wine and chocolate and all that stuff, but really reassess your goals. Lindsay Teague Moreno, I recently saw her stuff. I heard her talk at the USANA convention that we went to, and she talks about how you have this opportunity to use this time to grow and develop new things that you want to do, or you can sit around and just be angry and upset and do nothing about it. So I just encourage everybody here, whatever you've been wanting to do, but you're like, I'm never home to do it, find the time to do it, take your breaks, create your schedule for work. Just because you're working from home doesn't mean you need to be working 80 hours. Stick with those 40 hours, schedule some stuff. I'm sure everybody has somewhere where they can get out and do some push-ups, they can do some squats. Everybody's offering free HIIT workouts. So, you know, look at how we can use that. As you mentioned, Chef Fresh mentioned the mental toughness, and really, you know, survive this and thrive as opposed to just getting by.
Mm-hmm.
And Chef Rush did mention the in home workouts, and I follow him. He does his push-ups every day, regardless of his schedule. So he keeps his schedule very consistent. But also, I saw somebody was saying that gym was an outlet to deal with PTSD. Is not only PT. Now after this, we're gonna have COVID-19 PTSD. But reading about a little bit about Chef Andrew Rush, his the background and what he had to go through. I believe that after deployment, you had to find the comfort and deal with your own PTSD. And if you can tell us a little bit about that.
And I know there's a few people on here who also has dealt with the same thing that I've dealt with as well. And I'm not, so the thing about me is, if you know my background, I don't push it in the forefront. I do talk about it. I don't let it control me. I mean, but I'll be just, again, very transparent. After I was in inpatient for 6 months, and then I was another inpatient for 6 months, and I was an outpatient for a year, and I had severe PTSD. I had guys that committed suicide. I've seen a lot of things. I've done a lot of things, and I've worked at the highest levels you could possibly think of. And you also have clearances to go along with that. You guys know about clearances. You know, on my platform, I decided to wear my chef outfit. Right, I wear it everywhere. Nowhere if I'm speaking to corporate, if I'm speaking to kids, if I do it, they see this big black guy in a chef's outfit, right? And the first thing they say, "Who are you and why are you wearing that white shirt?" And I say, "Because I look good in it," right? And the first thing I want people to do is laugh, because no matter what happened to me in my stories, in my history, it doesn't control me. It doesn't define who I am and what I've become and who I am right this moment. I've got degrees and a lot of different things, but I use it as a lesson and a tool for everyone else. You know, people see me, and Josh, you'll contest to it. They see a big guy that comes out and say, "Hey, you know what? I have PTSD. And this is XYZ." You know, when Gary Vee asked me, was looking for 7 inspirational people to be on a commercial, and he picked me as one of them. But, you know, that was an impactful part for me. Doing that commercial, my mother, I got a call and said my mother was dying. You know, if I want to see her, you need to get her now. I didn't know she was dying. And the reason why she didn't tell me she was dying is because she knew I was out helping so many people. And me being from Mississippi, a small town, not a lot I grew up with, right? But she taught me how to love and how to give. And my dad taught me how to work my butt off. And I put both of those traits together along with the military that embedded and installed in me. That was my outcome. And then the people that I surround myself with, like Josh that's on his phone right now, other guys that I know throughout the time, that we hugged and we cried and we laughed behind closed doors. And we don't cry out in public unless it's tears of joy. I cry often, I laugh even more so, right? And I'll keep crying because that's an outlet for me. But at the same time, I also have to know that it's my responsibility, as each and every person is, to uplift them. Do I get hate? Do I get trolled? Do I get all of this? And I tell people I feed off of negativity, 100%. The positivity I feed off of 100%, but negativity I'm going to feed off of actually 1,000% more, because I need that in my life to drive me. You know, people like, "Chef, what do you mean?" And after I explained it to them, like, it makes sense, right? Even like with PTSD, even with my soldier that committed suicide, he called me the night before he committed suicide, and I was supporting other people. And it was nothing. He was a young guy. He was voracious. He was smart. He was laughing. A wife, 2 kids. And the next day, he committed suicide that night. And when they told me, you know, it's a thing what we have in the military calls survivor's remorse, right? Whether it be in war, whether it be in situations. Instead of having that, I had to use that as a conduit and show homage to him and show respect and say, okay, this is for you, Wesley Duran, for what you went through and what I'm going through. You know, we all have a story. We all go through things. We can smile each and every day, because people know me as, you know, the most happiest, you know, gentle giant. I'm actually a beast. Probably one of the most people you've ever probably meet. But I keep the smile on my face because I have to, because people are going to support you a lot more than if you frowned, right? And tell them, hey, this is what we're here for, and this is what we have to do. And if I got through it, you can get through it. We all have our story, and they're all different. And I have to put myself in a situation where I need to be able to relate to each person, whether it be from MST, military sexual trauma, or rape, or child abuse, or being, dumped on, or just mentally abused, which is worse than physically being abused in most cases, a PTSD with the military, with life, with mothers. Anytime I go speak anywhere in a military installation, the first thing I always ask, and I always will ask, is I need to speak to the spouses first. And they're like, Chef, why do you want to speak to them? They are the most important to me. Spouses, they're the ones that are foundation, and their kids. Because if we went through all these things as PTSD members in the military, imagine with them not going through any of this, and we're giving them PTSD. And this COVID-19 is going to be, someone said the other day to me on Arnold's thread, he said, we're in this together. He said, yeah, we're in this together with depression. I said, no, you're going to get depression because you're willing it on yourself. Right? If I say we, that's not I, that's we together. I'm going to support you. I get hundreds and hundreds of calls and messages, and I answer each and every one because I don't know who that person may be or that may need me at the time, the same way you guys do. So I can go on and on about this.
We appreciate
So
that.
yes, definitely. I can't wait for your future events after this quarantine is over. And I'm sure you have them all scheduled. Anything in the nearest future that we'll be seeing and hearing from you, books, videos?
Yeah, always going to be positive videos. I got my book that's coming out. Supposed to be out by December. And then I got a couple TV shows coming out as well, 3 or 4. Just got them signed up. I do my videos. I just did my nonprofit, which is 2222 Inc., 2,222 Inc., which brings military and kids that's deprived, that need that assistance, that's disabled. I don't care, corporate. We teach them how to humble themselves. The other ones, we teach how to uplift themselves. We bring military members that have had PTSD or that disassociation, that need that worth and that value, along with first responders or influencers that's going to give back. So it's a give 50-50 type of deal where the kids are actually, like, my outlet was kids. Us as military members, I say this last thing, or even as people, if someone tries to tell us something, the first thing we do is become aggressive. Have you been in the military? You don't know what I've been through. You're not going to say that to a kid. That kid's going to look at you like you're that hero, and they're going to make you smile, and they're going to make your heart melt. And that's what they're here for. And we're here to support them. They are the future. And that's why it's so important to me about kind of get people to understand that, because today's world is changing so much. We need to go back to the basics and understand. And the kids need to understand the basic, and also about respect, about entrepreneurship, about leadership, about caring. All those things go hand in hand.
Very much.
That is very true. Very true. Thank you so much. Ladies, do you have anything before Chef announces his favorite question winner?
I think we were going to ask you if you had any more giveaways, or if we were going to go directly to Chef's giveaway.
It's going to be Chef Rush at this time.
There you go. So Chef Rush, you get to pick what your favorite question was so that we can.
Well, I know my favorite question because she asked it, because I'm going to troll her now. Talking about she wrote so much and her diet. I was like, okay, that's a cop-out. Don't even say that to me. I don't know where she is, if she's still on here or not. But what is it, Marine? So my giveaway is my challenge coin, which was developed after my mother passed away, which is a picture of me and her favorite things she said to me from when I was born till she died, which is, you can do anything, never give up, and keep going. I also have this coin for kids that I give to thousands of kids. On the back of it is, the Bronze Star, which I have in the military. Over here is the world, which is Inspire the World, which is not only the U.S., but every country, because we're all together. I've been featuring over 50 different countries about suicide awareness and togetherness. This arm is not my muscles, but the strength we have. On the other side is the chef hat, which just means that it doesn't matter what format you are, you can still be impactful. And at the bottom is that half circle with a bunch of kids, and it says no bullying, which my campaign is no bullying, anti-bullying. And also this is laced with gold to say you're worth it. So I don't give them off often, but I want you to know that it's impactful. So thank you for your question. I meant a lot because it said a lot.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Maureen. In the chat, I said, please email me your info at mmvanpc@gmail.com. Chef Rush, thank you so much. I know you're swamped, and we're honored that Victoria was able to get you to come on today for our second webinar. We really appreciate it. We're going to have this.
Pleasure.
I was trying to live stream it, but Facebook has apparently changed its algorithms, shocker, in the last week. So there's now a whole bunch of other hoops to jump through before just hitting live stream. So we will get that posted. I may do it in clips if it doesn't let me do it in general. We appreciate it and appreciate you so much. And hope you'll come back and join us again in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chef Andrea. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. I'll be seeing you.
Thank you. Yes, take
And
care.
I'm going to let Corey announce next week's webinar. And we're probably going to we have a series going every Saturday at noon.
Yeah, so if you guys, we mentioned it at the very beginning, but it wasn't recording yet. So we are going to have Miss Becky Clausen next weekend. So she is going to be focusing on female posing. So if you want, follow Becky Clausen. Stacia, you might be able to pull up her Instagram. She has got a lot of really great information when it comes to everything you need to know about wellness, bikini, figure posing. So she will be joining us next week. Oh my goodness. So she is an IFBB Figure Pro. She's an IFBB head judge and NPC head judge. So lots of information there. And we're working on some great sponsors lined up for you. So remember, if you are listening to this back, the way to earn any of those sponsor giveaways is you actually have to be on the call live. So that's how it's being given away with those sponsored prizes. So we hope to see you guys all next week. And we hope you have a really, really great weekend and a great week.
Yep, and I will figure out live, and we will have it back on live again next week too, so we'll have a bigger pool of people. So again, thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and if you ever need anything, you know you can reach out to any one of the three of us, and we're happy to chat. So, all right, guys, have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.